Good morning, boys. Welcome to the second session of your geography online class. I hope you all are keeping well and studying at home properly. Today, we are going to cover the second lesson from your book, that is the geological evolution and structure of India, which is a very short and sweet chapter, right? And in this chapter you are going to basically study about how India evolved as a country that it stands today. How did the physical divisions of India evolve geologically through time and over a long period of time, right? Before beginning the chapter, you need to know about certain terms related to the geological evolution of any region. The first term is geology. Now, what is geology? It is the science of the earth's crust. You know that the earth is formed, the topmost layer of the earth is the crust, and the crust is an ever changing part of the earth. So, how does this change occur? What changes occur? In what way do they occur? When we study all these aspects of the earth, we say that we are studying geology. So then what is historical geology? Historical geology, or which we also call as paleogeology, it is a historical study of the earth, and it studies the patterns of the development of the crust in time and space. So, historically, how did the Earth's crust evolve over a period of time, over the geological time? How did it evolve as what it is today, and how it keeps on changing? We study under the historical geology, right? And geology is studied under a geographical time scale, right? You have studied about timelines in geography. So when we study about the crust of the earth, we study a time scale, and there are certain terms related to the time scale you need to know. The first one is era. Now, what is an era? An era is a primary interval of time, right? The main division or the main interval of time, and it is further divided into periods. Periods are the secondary interval of time, right? So if you see this flow chart over here, it clearly gives you the division of the geological time scale. Eon is a period which we cannot calculate, right? Eon cannot be calculated. A time period which cannot be calculated is eon. Eon is further divided into eras. Eras, we know how many years are there, how many million years are there. Era is further subdivided into period, and period is divided into epoch. So this is the major division of the geological time scale, and we studied the evolution of the earth under this time scale only. So when further I'll be telling about what are the various geological eras that you need to know, right? Then other important terms you need to know is physiography. Now, what does physiography mean? It is the study of the formation and development of the surface features of land. So how did mountains evolve? How did plateaus came into being? How were the plains formed, right? What are fold and block mountains? So the different aspects of the earth you study under physiography, that is the relief forms of the land. What is the geological structure? It studies the faults and the folds. The folds and faults are actually a result of tectonic plates or tectonic movements, as you studied last year, right? So when the folds and the faults of the earth give rise to particular landforms, and these landforms shape the earth, we are actually studying the geological structure of the earth. And the third is related to stratigraphy. Stratigraphy is basically the study of rocks, and especially the layering of rocks. Now, why do we need to study the layering of rocks? Is because it helps us to determine the age of the earth. So it is a discipline, a study concerned with the study of the rock layers, the layering of rocks, their thickness, and according to their thickness, what could be their age, is all studied under stratigraphy. So these are some important terms you need to know, like era, periods, geology, right? Moving on, the divisions of geological time. That is, this geological time refers to the geological time of the whole earth, as the whole of the earth. And there are four basic important divisions over here. They are further divided into periods that you don't need to know as of now. The Precambrian period or the era, which is 88% of the Earth's history, how the Earth was formed, how the tectonic plates broke, how Pangaea was broken into different parts, that you study under the Precambrian age. Then you have the Paleozoic age, which is almost 544 million years ago. Then you have the Mesozoic age, which is almost 245 million years ago. And the current age is the Cenozoic age, which was 65 million years ago, and this continues till date. And we are in the Holocene epoch. Epoch, I said, is a smaller part of the period, which is a part of the quaternary period of this main era. So these four names of the geological time scale, geological time of the world or of the earth, you need to know. And since we are studying about the geological evolution of India, under the Indian geological time scale, you need to know the Indian geological eras as well. And which are they? They are the Archean age, that's the Archean era, the Purana, the Dravidian, and the Aryan eras, right? And therefore these only the names again you need to know here. The time period is not. So under all these four geological eras, India came to be a subcontinent as it stands today. So this was the basic introductory part of the chapter, where you have to know about the different eras and the different definitions. Let's now come to the major geological structure and the evolution of the Indian subcontinent. Now, as you know, and you've studied at the Indian map, there are three major physical divisions of the country: the Peninsular Plateau, the Himalayan mountains, and the Indo-Gangetic plains. We are further going to study how all of the three evolved and how they came into being. That is the historical geology of these three landscapes or these three physical divisions we are going to study. The first one is the Peninsular Plateau. We say that Peninsular Plateau is a tableland. Why? Because a plateau is often defined as a tableland, right? It's a risen part of the earth which has a tail, flat top like that of a table, right? And the Indian plate covers mostly the Peninsular Plateau, right? We know that the earth is formed of different tectonic plates, and one of them, Indian plate, is a minor plate. Most of the Indian plate is covered by the Peninsular Plateau, right? Now, how did the Peninsular Plateau evolve as it stands today, right? It was a large depression, right? The Peninsular Plateau was a large depression which was deposited by sediments. And after the sediments, when the sediments solidified, the block of crystal rock came out of the depression because of vertical internal movements, that is the diastrophic movements you studied in class 11. There was upliftment of the solidified sediments, and this is what led to the formation of the Peninsular Plateau, right? And the people who've been studying geology believe that when a part of the Gondwana land, now what is the Gondwana land? It's the southern part of the Pangaea. You studied about the continental drift theory in class 11, and Gondwana land was a part of the Pangaea. When the Gondwana land drifted upwards, it led to northwards. It struck Central Asiatic plate and it formed the Himalayan mountains which came out of the Tethys Sea, right? So further, now that was the formation of the Peninsular Plateau. We will now be studying about the evolution of the Himalayas. How Himalayas, which is one of the most important physical divisions of India and which has a great role to play in the Indian climate and life, is the Himalayas. So we shall study it. Here I've made it easy for you. I've put it into different stages. So we shall be studying it in different stages. Now, we all know that before the formation of the 7 continents that we have today, the earth was divided, or it was a single continent, that's a supercontinent, and the name of that supercontinent was Pangaea. Pangaea had 2 parts, Laurasia, which was the northern part, and Gondwana land, which was the southern part. India was a part of the Gondwana land, right? And approximately 200 million years ago, because of the tectonic movements, this Pangaea broke up and it started moving, right? And the plates and their respective continents began to drift across the globe, right? So once the tectonic forces occurred, these because of convectional currents, the tectonic plates, they started drifting into different directions all over the earth, right? And India was away from the Eurasian plate. How far? 6,400 kilometers away from the Eurasian plate, and both India and Eurasian plate were separated by the Tethys Sea. So then the Indo-Australian plate, which was a part of the Gondwana land, when it started drifting upwards, it started pushing itself upwards towards the Eurasian plate, that is today towards the Eurasian region, right? So as India approached Asia, that is part of the Eurasian plate, 40 million years ago, the Tethys Sea began to shrink. So it was because Tethys Sea was between Eurasian plate and the Indian plate. So when Indian plate started moving up towards the north, the Tethys Sea began to shrink, and gradually as it kept on moving, the Tethys Sea finally disappeared, right? And the sediments rose from the Tethys Sea, formed a mountain range. So the sediments that were there, the sea disappeared, the water disappeared because of continuous pushing of the Indian plate, and the seabed, which was formed of rocks, sedimentary rocks mainly, it rose, it folded, and you studied in the process of folding. And when India and Tibet collided, India was a part of the Gondwana land or the Indo-Australian plate, and Tibet was a part of the Eurasian plate. When both of them collided, the relatively light sedimentary rocks, they pushed against Tibet and they folded up. So when two plates, Indian plate, Tibetan plate, when both of them collided against each other, folding occurred, which led to the formation of the massive fold mountains, that is the Himalayas. And the Himalayas, as I told you last year as well, haven't stopped rising. They are still rising at the rate of 2 centimeters each year. So that was the evolution of the Himalayan mountain ranges. We move on next to the next important physical division of India, that is the Indo-Gangetic plains. Now, Indo-Gangetic plains are a result of A-gradational forces. A-gradational forces are result of denudation, the work of rivers mainly, and they have been formed comparatively just recently, right? Now, it is believed that they have been formed by the filling up of depression resulting from the upliftment of the Himalayas. As I said, the Himalayas were uplifted. When they uplifted from there was a gap between the Himalayas and the Peninsula Plateau. And this gap was filled by the sediments brought down by the swift and the fast flowing rivers which originated in the Himalayas. They originated in the Himalayas, they start bringing their deposits, and they deposited their sediments in the plain or the depression. If you see that, and the depression, and that is how the Indo-Gangetic plains were formed. It says here better, description is given that the Indian plains was a part of the Gondwana land mass, and because of the convectional current, it led to the split of the land masses, and the Indo-Australian mass started moving upward towards the Eurasian plains. Then there was a collision, and the rocks from the Tethys Sea became the Himalayas, as I said, because of the folding. The uplift of the Himalayas formed a basin, right? That's in the previous slide we just saw that because of the upliftment there was a depression, that basin, and due time the depression were filled by the sediments flown by the rivers flowing from the north. The rivers flowing from the north were that from the Himalayas, and from the south were the rivers which were flowing from the Peninsula Plateau. So rivers flowing from both these physical areas, physical divisions, brought their sediments and deposited it in this basin, and that formed the Indo-Gangetic plains. That's how the northern plains, Indo-Gangetic plains also called as the northern plains, were formed, right? So that was the formation or the evolution of the Indo-Gangetic plains, right? And finally we come to the part where you have to study the difference between the Peninsula Plateau and the Himalayan mountains on the basis of the geological evolution, right? It says it's an old landmass and it's a young mountain. It's a tableland and it's a chain of fold mountains. The shape, that is the time period when they were formed. And here then it has that the peninsula contains mostly residual mountains and Himalayas as young mountains. River valleys are shallow. Here the Himalayas are tectonic mountains and the rivers are torrential, right? That means they are still in the young stage. So these are the basic differences between the Peninsula Plateau and the Himalayan mountains on the basis of the geological structure, right? So that is what you had to know for this chapter of geological evolution. But the chapter has more details, which is not, you have the further rock formation that is not a part of your syllabus for class 12. You need to know basically the geological evolution of all these three physical divisions of India and the terminology that has been given to you in the beginning. Right, children? So that was the end of the chapter number 2 of your books. Please go through the slides and then kindly see through the notes that have been provided to you. Thank you.